Hey everyone, I'm glad you joined me to talk about social equity. So what is social equity? Well, let me give you a quick story to give you an example. In 2018, my client, Florence Williams, purchased her first house. She was a first-time home buyer. In fact, she was a first-generational home buyer. She lived with her grandparents, and her family had no history of home ownership. Not because they never wanted to, but because years of government practices prohibited them from pursuing home ownership. Let me explain. I'll give you a quick history lesson. In the wake of the Great Depression, as part of the New Deal policy, the federal government began underwriting and backing home mortgage loans. In 1938, the Federal Housing Administration created an underwriting manual that had guidelines on how these loans would be distributed and who could get them. Ultimately, this institutionalized racism and segregation in the housing industry. The FHA used redlining and deed restrictions to prevent African Americans and other minorities from pursuing homeownership and building wealth. They would use color-coded maps and literally draw a red line around the areas in the neighborhoods that were less desirable or that they weren't going to be lending in. The other neighborhoods were outlined in green. Because of these policies, if you lived in the green neighborhoods, it was super easy to get a loan. But if you lived in the red neighborhoods, no loans were available. The result was that from 1934 to 1968, 98% of home loans went exclusively to white families. And this advantage compounded over time. For families in the green neighborhood, the influx of new wealth and brought new businesses, new retail, and the property values increased. And because the property values increased, homeowners were now able to use their equity to do things like send their kids to college or buy more property and build more wealth, passing this wealth and these advantages down to the next generation. Well, the families in the red neighborhoods had far less opportunities to do that and far less ability to build wealth. Therefore, many remained trapped in poverty. Only a little over 50 years ago, the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968 made these laws and practices illegal. My client, Florence Williams, was able to purchase her home using down payment assistance, which helped her pay her down payment and her closing costs. So you see, that's just what equity is: fairness within processes and systems, and the removal of barriers to participation. Equity recognizes each individual's situation and circumstances different, and it allocates the resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. Through my involvement in neighborhood organizations and with community lenders, I was able to help Florence get over $40,000 in down payment assistance. This allowed her to become a first-time home buyer and better, a first-generation homeowner. Hi everyone, I'm Julia Lachey Israel. I'm the managing partner of the Signature Group in Minneapolis and Dallas, Texas. I'm also a Social Equity Task Force regional leader for the North Central, New Mexico, and Memphis region. As the past president of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers and a member of a number of different diversity community engagement organizations and committees, I've been able to help agents build social equity in their communities and also build a strong business by implementing diversity and equitable practices directly into your business model. I'd love to share some of those ideas with you today. The first thing I would say that you could do to build social equity in your business and do good in your community is first simply embrace diversity. Embracing diversity is the best thing you can do for your business. Diversity is beautiful. The stats show that the United States and the housing industry are becoming more and more diverse, and that's awesome. In fact, that's great for your business. That provides agents with an opportunity to get more clientele and to grow and expand your business in many different areas. But to take advantage of this, you first have to be willing to accept people's differences and understand cultural differences, and be willing to incorporate those differences into your business. Differences can be incredibly valuable, especially in your team. Having a variety of people who think differently than you do, are from different backgrounds than you are, have different experiences and skills, are great to help you build your team and be able to understand the broader audience. And maybe you don't have a team per se, but your team could be your lender, the home inspectors that you refer, and a number of different people that come together to provide the services to your clients. Having a variety of people in your business is not only good for your individual business, but it's good for people to see that you embrace diversity and you accept it. It can be good to have people who think different than you. They have different perspectives and bring fresh ideas. For a team to thrive, you need people who think differently than you do and who can offer you suggestions and advice to reach a broader audience. So how do you do that? Things that you can do to embrace diversity are just to seek out different people, seek people from different perspectives that look differently than you do. For example, embracing diversity kind of looks like, well, think of it this way. I've never been to India. I've never been to Guyana. I've never been to Mexico. But I have friends who are from all of these places, all over the country and all over the world. And because of them, I learned things about their culture and their belief systems and how they do business. And increasing your knowledge in different cultures and backgrounds helps you to appeal to a much wider client base. Plus, diversity is just good for business. When people see that you're diverse and inclusive, it's looked at very positively and it boosts your reputation. It encourages clients to kind of want to work with you and choose to work with you. Choosing to embrace diversity is better for everyone, and it makes your business stronger, and it helps you to better understand your clients. The second thing that I would offer you to do is to implement a diverse business model and strategy. So in essence, just incorporating social equity directly in your business plan. Here's how you can do that. One, diversify your team. Like I just mentioned, having people from different cultures in different lenders, having people from home inspectors that may reach a broader audience. All of these are great ways to diversify your team. Or maybe you do actually have a team and you are a rainmaker. Having agents on your team that can service their particular market is a great idea. The best way to relate to a diverse audience is to have a diverse team. You can also build a diversity plan, by just making sure that you have consistent policies and procedures. What do I mean by that? Well, equity is about fairness. So making sure that you have a consistent policy and procedure in your business allows you to make sure that you're treating every customer and client the same. Don't allow your unconscious biases or your implicit biases to interfere in your business. Oh yes, we all have them. We all have preconceived notions of people or prejudgments of people based on things we've heard, things we've seen, experiences we've had, even experiences we haven't had. And the only way to make sure that your prejudgment of people or your unconscious bias doesn't interfere in your pocketbook is to make sure that you are consistently implementing the same policies and practices with everyone you encounter. It will also help you make sure you keep your license. Now, I know many of you have seen a video that was done on social equity. Newsday did a video, an investigation where they went undercover to see if different agents were treating people differently based on their color. The results were unfortunate. Unfortunately, a lot of agents were caught actually discriminating against people based on how they looked. Now, this could have been avoided. An easy way to avoid it would be if they all had consistent practices and policies, so that when someone came to them asking for a service, they weren't treating them differently because they treat everyone the same. So again, it's incredibly important, not just for the good of your business, but also to keep your license to make sure that you have consistent policies and practices. Another way to implement social equity directly into your business plan is through our advertising and our marketing. Now, in our business as real estate professionals, advertising and marketing are critical elements to how we do business. Making sure that you have an advertising and marketing plan that is inclusive is going to be incredibly effective. Ask yourself, am I doing anything that would violate fair housing laws or, worse, reduce my reach? Remember, the goal of advertising and marketing is to gain exposure and to maximize our profits and to maximize the positive outcomes that we have. So when marketing, make sure your marketing is reaching a broader population and you're not just keeping it in a tight knit. So make sure that it's available to a lot of people through a number of mediums. Maybe you use radio or newspapers, or maybe you use social media. Are you using ads that are too confining, or are you actually broadening your audience to make sure that more people are able to see what you have to offer? The basic rule of marketing and advertising is to be inclusive, right? And that goes for your business when you're marketing yourself, or even when you're marketing your listings. The key to success is inclusion, not exclusion. The third thing that I would suggest to build social equity in your business and to do good in your community is to simply get involved in your community. Getting involved in your community can look like a lot of different things. You could get involved in your church or your neighborhood organization or maybe a nonprofit in your area. But getting involved in the community is good for the community, it's good for social equity, and quite frankly, it's good for social capital. Now, while of course you go out into the community to do good, people see you out there and it makes you a leader. It makes you a community service real estate agent that they recognize. What do we always say in real estate? People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Well, how do they know you? They know you because you're around. They've seen you around. They like you because you're around and you've been doing good in the community, and they trust you for that very same reason. So getting out in the community doesn't just do good for the community, it does good for your business. You could get out there and maybe teach others how to build their own equity through home ownership, maybe by speaking at home buyer workshops. You know, for over a decade, I spoke at first-time home buyer workshops in my community. There is nothing more rewarding than teaching people to get the information that they need to build wealth for their own families through homeownership. Because we're able to do that, people see you up there, and of course they're going to call you because you're there to help them buy their house. Now again, we're not there to get business, but it is kind of lead generating, and we are doing good, and we are all about win-win, right? So while you're out there in the community doing good, you're also doing good things for your business. Maybe you could even teach Quantum Leap, or better yet, Quantum Leap for young adults. You could help other people learn how to get their unfair share, regardless of which industry they work in or that they're going to be going into. And best of all, you don't have to go at this alone. There's lots of different organizations in your community that you could potentially partner with. For example, in my area, I was the past president of the Twin Cities National Association of Real Estate Brokers. That's NAREB. NAREB is the oldest black trade association in the company. The point of NAREB is to promote democracy in housing. We partnered with all kinds of other neighborhood organizations, community organizations, nonprofits, and we provided all kinds of events and trainings and different things that were beneficial to the community. Likewise, there's other organizations just like NAREB, for example, ARIA, the Asian Real Estate Association of America. And their goal is to promote sustainable homeownership in the Asian community. There's NAREP, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, and they're champions of homeownership for Hispanic people. There's also the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance, and they empower LGBTQ communities on their path to homeownership. There's all kinds of different organizations that you could partner with to do good in the community. You could even join some of these organizations. And you don't have to be a member of the protected class to be in that group. For example, I can belong to ARIA, even though I'm not Asian. Anyone can belong. Everybody's welcome. Belonging to these organizations will, one, not only help you better understand how to work with all different types of clientele, but also give you a lot of opportunities to participate in events that they may be doing in your area. Another thing that you can do, and this kind of leads me to our fourth thing to do to implement social equity into your business and to do good, is to join your local association board or committee. So of course, we belong to the National Association of Realtors. Likewise, there's a state association and your local association. Getting involved in the committees and the boards of your association can be a very impactful thing. You have a unique opportunity to bring awareness to a lot of issues that may be important to you and may be important to you in your community. And it's a good thing for you to do. Participating in these types of committees and boards gives you a very valuable voice to address these important issues. Oftentimes associations, especially government affairs committees, play a major role in real estate policy taking place in your area. Your involvement will allow you to be a voice and to vote and support local practices, local policies, equitable policies, and community development projects that may be good for your community. I'm a member of the National Association of Realtors Housing Opportunity Committee. Probably one of my favorite committees that I've been on. I had an opportunity to participate in the Grant Review Committee. And what they do is provide each local association with programs and funding and resources for the association to go out and provide housing opportunities to the community. And again, many of them partnered with organizations like ARIA and NAREP and NAREB to do that kind of work. It's a great opportunity for you to get involved in doing that at your local association. And by the way, if you already are involved in a local association, don't forget to join the KW Industry Leaders. There's a group out there just for you. The KW Industry Leader supports compliance and policy initiatives, and it allows us to promote KW's position as industry thought leaders. We have meetings at different events that happen throughout the year. So if you already are participating in your local committee or a national or a state committee or board, make sure you look for the KW Industry Leaders group. That leads me, of course, to RPAC. Don't forget about RPAC. The Realtor Political Action Committee operates off of voluntary contributions from realtors to help elect candidates who understand and support our interests. RPAC and other political funding types of things are keys to promoting and protecting the real estate industry. There's a saying out there, if real estate is your career, politics is your business. So I highly encourage you to get involved in all of those types of things. One, like I said, simply embrace diversity. It's good for business. Two, make sure that your advertising and marketing is inclusive and is reaching a broader audience. Three, getting involved in your community. Not only does it build social equity, it builds social capital. And lastly, making sure that you are participating in your local, state, and national boards and committees. You see, as a real estate professional, ensuring equal housing is not just profitable for your business, it's actually our civic duty. Whether you're involved in your community teaching homebuyer classes or you're at a boardroom table supporting equitable community development projects, I hope you are tremendously successful from your participation. In fact, I hope your business is wildly successful. So go out there and do well. But above all, go out there and do good.